Hello everyone, welcome back to Learning Through Thalaivar channel. So we have been looking into conquering economy series, um, and for this lecture we'll be looking about the economic planning and planning institutions as well. Don't forget to subscribe the channel as more interesting concepts, lectures related to UPSC and general knowledge will be posted in as well. So let's get into the lecture. So starting with a simple hint, like today we are dealing with lecture number 9, economic planning and planning institutions. But the previous lectures have been already given along with the notes in the Telegram channel. So those who haven't watched our previous lecture, do check the playlist Conquering Economy and you will find it useful. So here this part of syllabus, economic and social development, sustainable development, poverty, inclusion, demographics and social sector initiative. This economic planning and planning institutions form or belong to prelims. This part of syllabus belongs to prelims, and this part of syllabus belongs to main. Indian economy and issues relating to planning, mobilization of resources, growth, development and employment. This part of syllabus belongs to mains as well. So with this, let's get into the long lecture. So before we get into that, what is the concept of economic planning? Economic planning is a concept which involves conscious governmental effort to influence, direct and sometimes even control key economic variables which include consumption, investment, savings, exports and imports over a specific period to achieve desired economic and social goals. So what it is coming to say, what this economic planning is coming to say is, it is nothing but planning a economy over a period of time, let's say for a financial year, on different aspects such as consumption, investment, exports, imports, savings, everything, to achieve the desired economic and social goals. See, budget here is something, an economic goal or economic planning which we see for India every year. So that is something which is very important. Now, what are the objectives of economic planning? So why is an economic planning happens? Promoting the development of economy. India had its primary focus on economic development, which is measured in terms of GDP and per capita income. Per capita income. See, to promote the development of economy, the GDP and per capita income has to rise. So for this, economic planning must be done. Attaining self-sufficiency. India was a country which imported a lot post independence, and India aimed to achieve that self-sufficiency in essential commodities while also expanding the phase of its exports through economic planning, which particularly saw significance during the third financial year plan. So with respect to the financial year plans, we'll be looking into the same lecture as the lecture goes. Regional development. Some states such as Punjab, Maharashtra, Tamil Nadu are very economically advanced, while other states such as Bihar, Orissa, Uttar Pradesh, Assam, etc. lag behind. See, it should also be noted that states like Karnataka experience uneven development with prosperous economic hubs in the cities and less developed rural areas. The planning helps in reducing that regional disparities and focus towards the development at regional level. Next one is reduction in economic inequality. India had a high economic inequality during independence, and ever since that period, India has more focused on measures to reduce the inequality through factors such as progressive taxation, reservation, or such factors through which economic inequality can be reduced. Next one is social justice. It should be noted that this point, social justice, here is one of the main objective of planning in India, where it aims to reduce people or the reduced number of people living below the poverty line by providing them with access to employment opportunities and social services. Finally, it's fostering comprehensive and sustainable development. A key objective of economic planning is to develop all sectors, which includes agriculture, industry, services, and at the same time, we also should focus on sustainable development by not overusing the resources and also reducing the pollution. So, we looked about objectives of economic planning. Now, let's look about the types of different planning. First one is imperative planning. It refers to the centralized planning and implementation with allocation of resources, and is particularly used or particularly in socialist countries where all aspects are controlled by the states. See, China is an example of imperative planning. Moving on to the indicative planning. It indicates some broad principles and guidelines to achieve some goals. Like, it does not control the private sector to achieve targets, but state still gives full assistance to the private sector. So for indicative planning, we can cite France as an example, wherein private sector is not forced but state gives in full support to them to achieve the targets. Structural planning. It aims to change in the existing structure of economy. For instance, shift from capitalist to socialist economy can be called a structural change. And this type of plan helps in accelerating the pace of economic development. Russia, I could call it, and India also a partly, which can call it into structural planning, because before, India is a socialist country, highly based on socialism and capitalism, mixed economy as well. But before the LPG reforms, India was into quite more highly socialistic. Only after the LPG reforms done, started becoming into a capitalist economy as well. It started getting capitalistic aspects as well in more number. So I feel structural planning can be India also can be cited as an example. Functional planning. This plan suggests that existing structure be corrected and modified rather than building a new plan. Just remove all the unknown ones, delimitations, and just correct those, and a new plan comes in. Next one is centralized planning. This framing, adopting, executing, supervising, controlling, everything is done by the central planning authority, where the authority determines targets and priorities, and it is the duty of the planning authority to bring harmony in the planning process. See, this planning process is top-down approach, where the top decides and bottom down follows. Next one is decentralized planning. The responsibility lies with the local regional officials who work on economic decisions of the plan. The planning starts from bottom to top, which can also be said as grassroots planning. Plan is framed by central authority or central planning authority by consulting different administrative units of the country. A good Indian example we can say for centralized planning is Planning Commission, and for decentralized planning it is NITI Aayog. Hope you guys are now clear with centralized and decentralized planning. Moving on to the perspective planning. It refers to long-term planning of 15, 20, 25 years planning, which are broken into smaller plans such as 5-year plans. 5-year plans. On the whole, broader objectives should be achieved by dividing the perspective plans into short plans. So, with this, we are quite comfortable with the planning and stuff. Now, let's go into the evolution of planning in India. The evolution of planning in India is a fascinating journey mirroring the country's changing economic philosophies and development priorities. It is very interesting topic to know about or just get an idea about. Starting with the phase 1, early ideas and pre-independence period. Sir M. Visvesvaraya's planned economy for India. See, he is often considered as a pioneer of economic planning in India. Visvesvaraya advocated for a 10-year plan focused on industrial output. Next came the National Planning Committee in 1938. It was set up by the INC, in the Indian National Congress, under Jawaharlal Nehru's chairmanship, where the committee aimed to outline a plan for post-independence India, emphasizing heavy industries and land reforms. However, its recommendations were stalled due to World War II. Next comes Bombay Plan, a significant proposal by 8 leading industrialists. It emphasized the state's crucial role in post-independence development, particularly in textiles and consumer industries. Next came the Gandhian Plan. Bombay Plan also was given in 1944 and Gandhian Plan also came in 1944. Proposed by Sri Ram Narayan Agarwal. This plan championed the concept of decentralization. Agricultural development and cottage industries, reflecting the principles of Gandhi. Finally came the People's Plan in 1945. M.N. Roy and Sarvodaya People's Plan came in 1945 and Sarvodaya Plan, one more plan came in 1950 by J. Prakash Narayan. These also contributed to the discourse of planning, with some elements of the Sarvodaya Plan finding government's acceptance. So with this, the phase 1 of planning, early ideas and during the pre-independence period is done. Moving on with the phase 2, the era of centralized planning and 5-year plans. Establishment of the Planning Commission in the year 1950. Okay. Soon after independence, the Planning Commission was set up by government resolution, which made it non-constitutional and non-statutory body. Its primary function was to formulate the 5-year plans for India's economic development and growth. The 5-year plans here were from 1951 to 2017. This was the bedrock of India's planning strategy, which was here again inspired from the Soviet model and influenced by the Nehruvian socialism. So this part is the era of centralization 5-year plan. Later on, the liberalization and shift towards indicative planning came in phase 3. Economic reforms of 1991, the BOP crisis, balance of payment crisis in 1991, led to significant economic reforms, which included liberalization, privatization, and globalization. And this marked a gradual move away from the command and control economy and opened the economy. Declining centrality of planning commission. While the 5-year plans continued, their influence began to wane. The market forces played an increasingly dominant role in resource allocation. The planning commission's top-down approach, which often overlooked the local needs, lacked adequate state involvement and came under the scrutiny of the state. After this phase 3 came phase 4, which that from planning commission to NITI Aayog. In 2014, after recognizing the rigid centralized planning model was no longer suited for globalized and dynamic economy, the government decided to dissolve planning commission and brought in NITI Aayog, which is National Institution for Transforming India, in 2015. This marked a paradigm shift, and NITI Aayog was established as a policy think tank, moving away from the command and control structure. Like its key features and roles include: first one is cooperative federalism. A think tank role. So we'll be just looking into few right now. I mean, not in detail, because we'll be looking in detail about NITI Aayog as the lecture proceeds. So with this, we are done with the evolution of planning in India. So moving on with the strategies of Indian planning. Indian economic planning has undergone a significant transformation since independence, shifting from a highly centralized command and control model to a more indicative, facilitative and market driven approach. So here again we have few phases. Post independence to 1990s. Mixed economic framework. India adopted a mixed economy after independence, where both the public and private sectors played significant roles. But the initial strategy prioritized the public sector through public sector undertakings in key industries like defense, machineries, etc. Heavy industrialization, which worked under Nehru Mahalanobis model, the second 5-year plan between 1956 and 61, heavily emphasized rapid industrialization, particularly in basic and heavy industries, which was believed that this would create a strong industrial base, reduce reliance on imports and drive the economic growth as well. Self-reliance. Imports. A crucial strategy was to reduce the dependence or import the foreign aid, or reduce the dependence on foreign aid and also reduce the imports. This involved promoting the domestic production of goods, even if it meant protectionist policies through high tariffs, import quotas, to shield the nascent domestic industries from foreign competition. This focus was achieving self-sufficiency, especially in the food grains through green revolution and industrial raw materials. Next one is poverty alleviation and social justice. From the beginning, planning aimed to address the widespread poverty and reduce economic inequalities as well, like through land reforms, public distribution systems, progressive taxation, employment generation programs. These all helped in poverty alleviation and social justice. Next is balanced regional development. Recognizing the vast regional disparities, planning aimed to promote the industrial development and infrastructure in backward regions through incentives and public sector investments as well. So the next phase came post 1991 reforms through LPG. Here, in liberalization, privatization, and globalization, a lot were done, like delicensing industries, deregulation. That is where government controls and intervention in various sectors reduced public sector dominance, trade liberalization, foreign investment promotion, all happened under liquid liberalization, privatization, and globalization. And more emphasis on private sector emerged as a major growth and planning strategies increasingly and supported its growth, like IT and its services. Next one is infrastructure development through PPP model, the public-private partnership models. While the infrastructure remained a property, the strategy shifted towards greater private sector participation through PPP models to leverage private capital and expertise. So after that came NITI Aayog era. The dissolution of the Planning Commission and establishment of NITI Aayog marked a new phase, moving up from the rigid 5-year plans and to a more flexible and collaborative approach. Cooperative federalism. NITI Aayog's core principle is to foster a strong partnership between central and state governments. As we looked into earlier, it works on bottom-up approach, which helps allowing state-specific development strategies. Policy think tank and advisory role. NITI Aayog functions primarily as a policy think tank, providing strategic and technical advice to central and state governments, and also conducts research, analysis, data, and offers recommendation across different sectors. Outcome-based monitoring and evaluation. This emphasis is particularly on tracking the actual outcomes and impact of policies rather than just expenditure. NITI Aayog here plays a crucial role in monitoring progress on various socio-economic indicators and sustainable development goals. Promotion of innovation and entrepreneurship. Like through the initiatives like Atal Innovation Mission, NITI Aayog actively promotes a culture of innovation, research, and startup ecosystem development. Addressing regional disparities. See, this came through aspirational district program, wherein it specifically targets socio-economically backward districts to accelerate their growth across key indicators, and finally focus on inclusive growth. While embracing the market forces, the strategy still aims to ensure that the benefits of economic growth are widely shared, addressing the needs of the vulnerable sections of society, like includes financial inclusion, skill development, and social welfare schemes as well. Now we are moving into one of the most important topic, the 5-year plans of So this is again a very important topic which will be really helpful in the course of preparation. See, India's 5-year plans was a cornerstone of economic development from 1951 to 2070. While there were 12 few 5-year plans and few annual plans, let's examine some of the most significant ones, which highlighting the objectives, strategies, key achievements, and growth. Failures. The first 5-year plan came between 1951 to 61, based on the model of Harold Domer, where influx of refugees, severe food shortage, mounting inflation, confronted the country on the onset of first 5 year plan. It focused on agriculture, power, transport, and it was a successful plan primarily because uh, good harvest in the last 2 years of the plan, and this plan was quite a successful one. Coming on to the next, the second 5 year plan between 1956 and 61. So it focused on rapid industrialization and was drafted and planned under the leadership of PC Mahalanobis. And the government imposed tariffs on imports to protect the domestic industries under this plan. And the industrial policy 1956 was based on the establishment of socialistic pattern of society. Acute shortage of forex led to pruning of development targets. Price rise was also seen, and the second 5 year plan was only moderately successful, not entirely successful. Next came the third 5 year plan. At its conception, it was felt that Indian economy has entered the takeoff stage. Therefore, its main aim to make India a self-reliant economy. Based on the experience of the first two plans, agricultural protection was seen as a limiting factor in India's economic development. So, agriculture was given a top priority. Panchayat elections were introduced to bring democracy to the grassroots level, and this is the first time India borrowed from IMF. The plan, but it was actually a thorough failure in reaching the targets because of the Indo-China War and 19 Indo-China aggression, 1962 Indo-Pakistan, 1965 severe droughts in the 1965-66, and because of which the development changed to defense. Following that phase, 3 annual plans came into existence. It was declared due to the failure of the third plan and was dealt with prevailing crisis in agriculture and serious food shortage. During these plans, a whole new agricultural strategy was implemented by bringing in high yielding variety seeds, extensive use of fertilizer, and exploitation of irrigation and potential soil conservation. The economy absorbed the shocks generated during the third plan and paved the path for the planned growth ahead. Next came the fourth 5 year plan between 1969 and 1974. Refusal of supply of essential equipment and raw materials from the allies during the India-Pakistan war resulted in twin objectives of growth with stability and progressive achievement. Came into plan. It was based on the Gargill formula. A great deal of emphasis was laid on growth with stability and progress, and this was the phase the family planning was introduced because population was booming like something during that phase. So family planning was introduced. Governments nationalized 14 major banks. The drought prone area was also launched, but due to the influx of Bangladeshi refugees and before and after the 1971 Indo-Pakistan war was an important issue along with the price situation, and the plan was considered a failure again. Next came the 5 year plan between 1974 and 1979. The final draft of fifth plan was launched and prepared by D.P. Dhar. In the backdrop of economic crisis arising out of runaway inflation fueled by hike in oil prices and failure of the government to take over the wholesale trade of the wheat. It had two major objectives. One is Garibi Hatao, which is removal of poverty and attainment of self-reliance again. The Indian National Highway System was introduced during this period. Later came the rolling plans between 1978 1980. The Janata government put forward a plan between 1978 and 1983, emphasizing on employment in contrast to Nehru model, which the government criticized for concentration of power, widening inequality, and mounting poverty. However, the government lasted only for 2 years. The Congress government returned to power in 1980 and launched a different plan aimed at attacking the problem of poverty by creating conditions of an expanding economy. So, the next 5-year plan between 1985 and 1990 aimed at poverty removal, higher growth, and modernization. It achieved most of its targets and underlined the beginning of economic liberation. And was also seen to the end of Nehruvian socialism. To prevent overpopulation, family planning was again pushed into, and on the recommendation of Shivaraman Committee, the National Bank for Agricultural and Rural Development was established. This plan is considered a massive success. Next came this 6-year plan came from 1980 to 85. My mistake, it is a mistake. The 7th 5-year plan came from 1985 to 90, which focused on food grain production and employment, and recorded the high agri growth. And it also emphasized on anti-poverty programs and use of modern technology and the need to make India an independent economy as well. Following which the annual plans came into, like 8th 5-year plan was not introduced due to the economic instability in India, worsening balance of payments crisis, rising debt burden, budget deficits, recession in industry, and inflation. All these started for the opening of economy, which led to LPG reforms, which was introduced under the Prime Ministership of E. Narasimha Rao. Moving on to the next came with 8th financial 5-year plans, wherein India became a member of the World Trade Organization. Here, high growth of agriculture and allied sector of and manufacturing sector was expected. Emphasis on universal education. Eradication of illiteracy. Was all seen into place. The goals were to control population growth, reduce poverty, generate employment, strengthen the development of infrastructure, manage tourism, and focus on human development as well. And this plan was a success. Next came the 99th 5-year plan between 1997 to 2002. It offered support for social spheres for complete elimination of poverty and witnessed the joint efforts of public and private sectors. This plan was prepared under the United Front government, focused on growth with social justice and equality. It prioritized agriculture and rural development, aimed to provide safe drinking water, education, shelter, and also ensure food and nutritional security. 10th 5-year plan between 2002 and 7. It intended for 8% GDP growth, aimed at reducing poverty by half, creating employment for 80 million people, and also reducing the gender gaps in the field of education and wage rates by 2007. It was a partly success, moderately success plan. Moving on to the 11th plan, it was aimed at, or it was set towards faster and more inclusive growth. India has emerged as one of the fastest growing economy by the end of the 10th plan. The savings and investment rates increased. Industrial sector had responded to face the competition in the global economy, and foreign investors were keen to face or invest in India. The focus was also laid on providing clean drinking water for all by 2009. Finally came the 12th 5-year plan between 2012 and 17. Here, faster, more inclusive and sustainable growth. This was its theme. It set 25 core monitorable targets, which includes GDP growth, manufacturing growth, education, etc., and also aimed at removing the gender and social gap in admissions at school, and also aspired to enhance the green cover by 1 million hectares each year, and to create new opportunities in non-farming sector. So this is the few aspects of the 5-year plan. So moving on to the next plan or next program, it is a PYQ which we can look into. With reference to India's 5-year plans, which of the following statements are correct? It was asked in 2019. From the second 5-year plan, there was determined thrust towards the substitution of basic and capital goods in industries. The fourth 5-year plan adopted the objective of correcting the earlier trend and increased concentration of wealth and economic power. In the fifth 5-year plan, for the first time, the financial sector was introduced as an integral part of the plan. So from what we look into, or what we read, the second 5-year plan, there was determined thrust towards substitution of basic and capital goods. Yes, this option is right because it was based on PC Mahalanobis model, which focused on heavy industries. So this option is right. The fourth 5-year plan adopted the objective of correcting the earlier trend and increased concentration of wealth and economic power. The key objective was to address the issue of poverty and inequality and also increase the concentration of economic power. This was seen in through nationalization of banks in 1969 and measures to curb monopolies. So this statement is also correct. The financial sector, it speaks about financial sector in the fifth 5-year plan. Particularly banking had already become a significant part of the planning before the fifth 5-year plan itself. That is nationalization of banks in 1969, the fourth 5-year plan. It indicates clearly that financial sectors are already a part of the economic policy in fourth 5-year plan. So this part is wrong. So with the statements 1 and 2 correct, so this is our correct answer. So moving on to the 20-point program. So what is 20-point program, you can ask me. It's launched in 1975 by the government with the aim of eradicating poverty and improving the quality for common man. The program has been revised several times, most recently in 2006 to align with economic reforms, liberalization, and globalization. Under TPP, 14 parameters are tracked and government publishes it. See, 14 parameters in the sense uh, number of SHEs provided, that is self-help groups created, electricity, how they are supplied, how they are supplied. See, to make it clear, the report is published by Ministry of Statistics and Program Implementation. So food security is brought into aspects, be it national food security, targeted public distribution system, on the Food Security Act, seedlings planted, rural housing, area covered under plantation, number of self-help groups provided, community investment fund during the financial year, road constructed through PG, PMGSY. So these are all 14 parameters which are in 20-point program. So the detailed notes for the same are given in the notes, so no need to worry about that. So you can very well get into the idea of that. So moving on with another program which is called MP Lads. The members of the Parliament Local Area Development Division is entrusted with the responsibility of implementation of members of the Parliament Local Area Development Scheme. Under the scheme, each MP has the choice to suggest the district collector for works to the tune of rupees 5 crore per annum to be taken up in his constituency. See, the Rajya Sabha members can here look into or work in one or more districts in the states where he or she has been elected. It shall be the responsibility of the district authority to enforce the provision of the guideline. District collector, magistrate or commissioner will generally be the district authority to implement MP Lads in the district. So it's nothing but to make it in the clear aspect. MP taking note of or taking control over few aspects of the economy or district planning and working to develop that in his or her constituency. So with this we are entering into the introduction to planning institutions. After gaining independence in 1947, India embarked on a journey of a planned economic development to address the widespread poverty, low agricultural output, nascent industrial base, and significant socio-economic inequalities. To achieve these goals, the system of centralized planning was adopted, which was drawn from the socialist models. So, we might be looking about NITI Aayog here specifically because the Planning Commission and the National Development Council has become non-existent. So we'll be directly looking about NITI Aayog in there. So first, as we did look into earlier, it is the think tank of the development of Government of India, which is designed for foster cooperative federalism and provide strategic thinking or strategic direction. Its structure includes the chairperson, which is Prime Minister, vice chair here appointed by PM and holds the rank of cabinet minister. Governing council includes CMs of all states, lieutenant governors of all union territories, and administrators of all union territories. Lieutenant governors of all union territories which has legislatures, and administrator of other union territories. Regional councils are formed to address the specific issues and contingencies which impact more than one state or a region It is convened by Prime Minister for a fixed tenure and chaired by chairperson of NITI Aayog or his or her nominee. Special invitees like eminent experts, uh, specialists with relevant domain knowledge nominated by the Prime Minister. So full-time organizational framework includes members, ex officio members like four members of the Union Council of Ministers, Chief Executive Office, Secretariat. They might all be appointed. Now we'll be looking about the guiding principles of NITI Aayog. Antyodaya. What is Antyodaya? You might ask me. It means like upliftment of the poorest and most marginalized sections of society. Like the development should reach the last person, prioritizing the most vulnerable. That is the Antyodaya, which it means. Inclusion. It is committed, NITI Aayog is committed to inclusive development, ensuring equal access and opportunities to all the people in the world, all sections of society. Village integration. Recognizing the importance of grassroots development, this principle emphasizes integrating villages into the planning process and also fosters the credible planning at local level. Demographic dividend. It aims to leverage India's young and large population as a strength and focuses on human development through human education and skill development to create productive livelihoods opportunities. People's participation. NITI Aayog seeks to make the development process a people-driven one by actively promoting the public involvement in policy making and project implementation. Governance. This principle advocates for open, transparent, accountable, proactive style of governance. Like it focuses its shift from merely spending money to achieving the measurable outcome or measurable results. Sustainability. It places environmental sustainability at the core of its planning and ensures that development meets the current needs without compromising the ability of the future generations to meet theirs. Cooperative federalism. This is the fundamental principle fostering a continuous partnership between central and state governments and recognizes that strong states are essential for a strong nation. Competitive federalism. See, complementing cooperative federalism, this competitive federalism encourages healthy competition among states and center and improves the governance and development outcomes through transparent trackings and adoption of the best practices. Empowerment. This principle prioritizes the empowerment of youth, marginalized communities, and fosters equal opportunities in education, employment, and leadership goals. Equality. NITI Aayog strives to create an environment where everyone, especially youth and underrepresented groups, can realize their full potential, and it creates a balanced model which can bridge socio-economic disparities as well. So, what are the functions and role as a think tank? NITI Aayog's function and role as a think tank. Policy and program framework. Develop long-term strategies, medium-term strategy, and short-term action strategies. Action agenda. It's for 15 years, 7 years, and 3 years short-term agenda. Functions and role as a think tank. This point has come. Monitoring, evaluation. Actively monitoring and evaluating the implementation and efficacy of government programs, focusing on outcomes. Knowledge and Innovation Hub serves as a repository of research, promotes innovation, through Atal Innovation Mission, for example, and engages with experts to build a knowledge ecosystem. The next one is strategic and technical advice. Offers expert to both central and state governments on a wide range of policy issues, from economic reforms to social sector development. Finally, it's conflict resolution. Provides a forum for resolving intersectoral and or interdepartmental issues to accelerate the development agenda. So let's move on with key initiatives and indices by NITI Aayog. SDG India Index, where it monitors and tracks India's progress towards the UN Sustainable Development Goal at the subnational level. Aspirational District Program. Its objective is for rapid and effective transformation of 112 most underdeveloped districts in India, like where it focus on convergence, collaboration, and competition on 5 different aspects: be it health, nutrition, education, agricultural, water resources, financial inclusion, and skill development, along with infrastructure. Next one is Composite Water Management Index. Its main purpose is to assess and improve the performance of states and union territories in water management. India Innovation Index. It ranks and states and union territories based on their innovation performance. Health Index measures annual health performance of states and union territories. National Multidimensional Poverty Index. See, it measures deprivation across health, education, and living standards. Atal Innovation Mission, a flagship initiative to foster a culture of innovation and entrepreneurship. So, these are few initiatives and indices of the NITI Aayog. So, with this, we can conclude that NITI Aayog represents a transition from a command economy to a more collaborative, competitive, and knowledge-driven development model for states or active participants in shaping the country's or nation's future. So, with this, we are done with today's lecture, guys. So, hope you understood the concepts of planning, strategies, 5-year plans, MP Labs 20-point program, and NITI points on NITI Aayog as well. So do not worry about the long lecture. All the detailed notes will be provided in the Telegram lecture, a Telegram channel, and the link for the Telegram channel is in the video's description as well. You can look into and follow. Do keep supporting the channel, and the more knowledge will be gained for UPSC and as general life as well. Thank you. Keep supporting.